Welcome to another episode of the Life Worth Wasting podcast. I am your host, the one, the only, the Devo, and I am here as always with...
Bob again.
Bob again, yes, Bob as well.
Whatever.
As well. So this is our first recording of Gundam, The Origin. So overall, Bob, so far, what was your first impression of Gundam Origin?
I didn't like the animation too much, but story-wise, I thought it was good.
See, now, I was wondering what you were going to say about the animation, because this is obviously trying to recreate the original art style of the original Mobile Suit Gundam. So all the characters are a little bit more round, a little bit more square in certain places. None of them are very sharp. They're not very wafy. They got some meat to them for the most part.
I meant the really shitty, like, 3DS type shit.
Ah, you're talking about the CGI.
Yeah.
The CGI was funny because in the opening sequence, the CGI looked fantastic, and then throughout the rest of it looked terrible. Which I was so disappointed by. Because normally I just hate CGI and anime in general, so when I first saw it in the intro, I was like, oh, you know, this actually looks really nice. And then it got really bad. For those return listeners, you may have noticed a little bit difference in the way that I sound. I did invest some money in a wonderful new microphone here. I actually upgraded to an XLR from a USB microphone, so there's going to be some learning there, so this may have some technical difficulties, we'll see. So far, it seems fine. My levels look okay, but we will see in the editing process. Alright, so we're going to start. We're going to get through our outline here. We open on a Zeon fleet being devastated by the Federation forces. Dozal Zabi, as his ships fall one by one. I love actually how I think it actually shows some footage from previous Gundam. I could be wrong here, but it looked a little bit shittier and a little bit grainier, and maybe it was just on purpose to look like that. But I thought some of the clips of the screens while he's watching his men die were from, like, original Mobile Suit Gundam.
I did not catch that.
No? A Federation ship bridge is destroyed by a shrapnel charge from the inside. That was fucking epic. They're just like, oh, watch them flee, sir. And then you just see this bullet come in, and they're just like, oh, fuck. It just explodes like a shotgun shell on the inside. That was great.
Yes.
With the Federation's guns aimed forward at the fleeing Zeon ships, Char and his crew attack from the rear, destroying several of their main battleships. When the first time I watched this, I didn't fully understand. I'm like, wait, if they got their asses kicked, why the fuck is Char doing something now? And I was like, oh wait, no, it was because they're battleships, so it's really hard for them to change gun positions. So if they're all focused forward and Char comes in from the rear, they have very little defenses to stop him. And I feel like they cranked the action up like to 11 on this one, because they're moving way faster. There's way more explosions than like any other Gundam from the original series or anything from the Universal Century universe. I love when one of the other random Zaku's in his crew whips out a giant battle axe. It just cuts a fucking ship in half. It was a little cartoony. I mean, obviously this is anime, but a little bit, spastic and weird to see, but it was hilarious. You got Char zooming past, blowing shit up. I love the part when they send out the little starfighters to stop him, and he just kicks one in half.
Yes.
That was so good. Oh, man. They do comment that Char is moving 3 times normal speed, which I don't recall. I haven't watched the original series in almost 15 years, 12 to 15 years, so I don't know if that's accurate or not. I feel like 3 times normal speed's a little ridiculous. I mean, I always knew he was the fastest, so that's the reason he's the Red Comet, but 3 times normal speed.
Well, it's canon now.
It is now. We flash to Char's childhood, to the night before his father's death. This is not a spoiler, by the way, because obviously if you've watched the original series, you will know his father did die during his speech. We know that. Where he was preparing his declaration of war against the Earth Federation for the autonomy of Zeon, which he believes will bring his execution and his elevation to martyrdom in the eyes of his people. He finds comfort in his little daughter, Sayla. I know I'm using her slave name or whatever, but it's just easier to pronounce than whatever the fuck her actual name is. Artesia, or whatever. So forgive me for always referring to her as Sayla. Also, she's way too perfect and cute. She was so goddamn adorable. Like, she made me made me melt. Like, we're bordering on like Kana levels from Dragon Maid of just too perfect little girlness.
I didn't like Kana that much in Dragon Maid though.
You've seen Dragon Maid?
Yes.
Oh my god, we may have to.
Kobayashi?
Kobayashi Dragon Maid? Fuck.
Yes,
What?
I've seen all of it.
When?
Oh, okay, I haven't seen the OVA, but I've seen all of it.
Oh, I have not seen the OVA either. We should maybe do an episode on that. Oh my god, that is one of my favorite anime of all time. That sounds stupid because of how new it is, but that easily entered my top 10. I fucking adore that anime. You not liking Kana makes you a heretic, and I will burn you with fire.
Yes. Okay, then let's see you try.
The challenge is on. The next day,
You're gonna get divorced and remarried just so I go back down there.
My god. Sure. The next day, the United Space Nations watch with bated breaths, waiting to hear the speech by the great Zeon Daikun. Before one word is spoken, Zeon Daikun suffers a fatal heart attack at the podium. I feel really stupid, and then I never realized that Zeon was named after Zeon Daikun.
You should feel really stupid.
I should feel stupid. Zeon Daikun's wife and children are met by Degwin Zabi, who tells them that on Zeon's deathbed, he was told by Zeon to look after his family and lead his people. I kind of changed what actually happens in the episode because they kind of retconned the flashback we saw in the original series, because that's kind of what happens then, so I just kind of melded the two together. The crowds outside await news on the fate of their leader. Unaware of his death, someone in the crowd yells that Zeon is dead and how he was killed by the Federation. The Earth forces try to break up the rioting crowd with the use of water cannons and a fucking gun tank. A massive tank that destroys the streets. They really love to use these mobile weapons that cannot travel without destroying everything underneath them.
I was just thinking that the entire episode too. It's like, what's the point of when you're on limited resources? How do you repair all this shit?
It seems kind of ridiculous. I don't feel like, especially considering that we know it's established in the Gundam universe that when you're on like a space colony, you do not fire weapons like what a gun tank can fire, because it can blow a hole in the space station and basically kill everyone. So you would not fire that. Seems a little dumb.
They do. Like 90 times.
They do a lot. Jimbo Rawl rushes to warn the Daikun family of his suspicion of Degwin Zabi, and how he believes Zeon was killed by the Zabis as a grab for power and a knock against the Federation. When they said Rawl, and I was like, okay, so Ramba Rawl is I didn't read Jimbo Rawl initially in the subtitles. I just kept hearing the name Rawl, and I'm like, I mean, he does look like him, but he's too old to be him. I'm like, that doesn't... Well, maybe he's his dad or something. He tells them that his son Ramba Rawl will take them to his home for safety and will act as their personal bodyguard. And then we see young Stash Man. I was like clapping my hands, and I was like, oh my god! He's got even he has a tiny mustache. He's a baby, and he has a baby mustache. It was adorable. Stashman leads the escort of the Daikun family in his blue APC, which was simultaneously cool and eye-rollingly lame, which reminds me of what our commenter had said when we announced that we were going to be watching this, that this is like the Star Wars prequels done well. I can definitely see the comparison in that there's tons and tons of unnecessary callbacks. His APC does not need to be blue. I understand that his goof will be blue in the future. For fuck's sake, you don't need to do that. But it was cute anyway. They are stopped by a crowd of protesters, and then when they are saved suddenly by the Valkyrie bitch herself, Cecilia Zabi. Looking thick. Not fat in all the right places thick. I'm talking Amazon snoo thick. She a big girl. She a strong girl. She does not look like how she does in the original series. In the original series, she is very spindly. Most of the female characters are, the older ones at least. It's definitely similar to how the female characters look in like something like Galaxy Express 999. They are basically sticks. They're very, very thin and wafy. And then in this, she is just blocky and big. Looking good, though. At the Zabi home, Cassilia is being interrogated by her brother Sosro, who is angry that she didn't take the Daikuns into custody. She says that she didn't see their importance and wanted to avoid further conflicts with the Rawl family. I don't know if this is stupid or makes sense. Even on rewatch. Like, I understand that they have political problems with the Rawl family, and obviously stopping Ramba Rawl, Stashman, would cause a lot of shit. I get that. But the Zabi family is the family in power. So, taking the children of the previous leader would be a very good play politically. Except for the fact that it would somewhat empower the suspicion of Jumba Ral that the Zabis were responsible for killing Zeon Daikun. So it's like, I don't know if Cassilia's not that smart. I mean, she is smart, but not that politically smart, so it doesn't seem like this was a logical move on her part. Do you have any opinions on this?
Later on in the episode, they state that Ramba has a lot of support from the younger generation in the military, so
that is true.
She's just trying to avoid making further enemies.
Yeah, you're right, because she is a military person, so she doesn't comment on that as being a motivator, but that makes more sense, that would be her motivation, and that Ramba's incredibly respected, and you do not fucking, spit in Stashman's beard. That's just not cool, bro.
Yeah.
So Saso just pimp slaps Cassilia so hard that blood flies out of her fucking mouth, and I was like, damn. That's heavy. God, I'm gonna pronounce this wrong. Giran Zabi states that they have to deal a final blow to the Rawl family before they can make their move. And their move referring to the Ral's family move of trying to change the heart and minds of the people against them under the suspicion that they murdered Zeon Daikun.
Did you notice, too, how she held the blood in her mouth until after they left?
I did not. I saw that blood ran down her mouth, but I didn't realize that she was purposely holding it.
Yeah, she was holding it in her mouth just so they wouldn't see until after they left, and she all let it just drip out.
So it was so that was kind of like a pride thing.
Yeah,
like don't show
so.
That he damaged her. Okay, that's cool. Yep. That adds to her character. I did not see that. That's very, very interesting. Going back to the comparisons of this being like the Star Wars prequels, this to me reminds me I know this is just because of the political power move shit. This reminds me a lot of Game of Thrones. Like a lot. Like they do a really good job of doing the medieval political Game of Thrones in air quotes. I just love the political intrigue shit in this. I was surprised that was the thing that really kept my attention. Alright, let's see. Later, after Zeon Daikun's funeral, Sasuro and Dozel's car explodes, killing Sasuro and wounding Dozel. Dozel believes this was ordered by the Rawl family. The Zabi family uses the news media to spread this rumor to divide the people and divert attention from their involvement in the death of Zeon Daikun.
How the fuck did he survive that, by the way?
I think the bomb was literally under his seat.
It's still a fucking bomb, and he's sitting right next to it.
Well, he gets fucked up. You know what I mean? I think the car exploding was probably more of a risk to him than the bomb underneath the seat of Sasuro.
And yet he just steps out, and he's like fucking, Super Saiyan Goku in fire.
The dude's a brick shithouse, okay?
Oh, yeah. Damn, boy. Damn, boy, he's thick. Boy, that's a thick-ass boy. Damn.
Yeah, you can tell.
It was pretty cool, though. I actually really loved him kicking out of the car.
I was like, God damn. I don't want to fuck with this guy.
Oh yeah. All right. Let's see. Sayla asks Stashman to lead a rescue mission to save her lonely cat Lucifer. Which this scene was adorable and funny. Kind of, like, it's totally within Stashman's character, 100%. I just don't understand the constant need for comedy and cuteness. It just seems unfitting. They handle it fine. It just seems weird to be in here because, like, the comedy in the original Mobile Suit Gundam was solely, you know, resided in the other characters, like the background characters, like on the white base, like the kids and shit like that. There was little to no comedy in the actual, like, military types. So that was odd. I have less trouble believing that he would go on that mission than a little girl would name her cat Lucifer. That cat is named Satan.
I liked that scene personally.
No, I'm not saying I didn't like it. I just seemed odd. The zombies discuss that what they'll do about Stashman once they take down his father. Too many people in the military are in Stashman's corner, and they'll have to offer him a middle ground, which is kind of a weird, like, I politically yet again makes sense. So if they dethrone his father, ruin his family, but he's a respected military type, they're gonna still, like, be like, okay, if you denounce your family and they're involved, you know, they killed, you know, our brother or whatever, we'll allow you to keep, you know, a position in the military, but we're gonna basically probably put you off on terrible missions in the middle of bumfuck nowhere, but you're gonna, you know, the men will be happy with us because you're still leading something. Which is, I don't know, is good writing, or it was just kind of that they were stuck in having to do that because we know from watching the you know, Mobile Suit Gundam series that obviously he has a military position, he has men that follow him, and so on and so forth. So they just kind of throw it away, like, oh yeah, well, you know, once we destroy his family, we'll just, you know, give him a, you know, a desk job and he'll just stick around, whatever. The night Stashman sneaks into a nightclub, Eden, to meet with Hamon. It's funny because when he takes off his disguise, she's like, wow, you really put a lot of effort in your disguise this time. And he's like, yeah, these scratches are real, referring to the cat that he went to save, fucked up his face. But the whole time, she's under the impression he's referring to a woman, and he does not in any way imply otherwise. He's like, oh, a raven-haired beauty, you know, like, went at me, all this other shit. And I'm like, that's good. I like that. Also, Hamon looks way different than she does in the original series. She also, in the original series, I'm gonna say that a lot, was very thin and wave-like and had a very delicate face, and now she's got, like, a classical beauty. She looks like actresses from the black and white film era. Like, she's got the square jaw and the hair, and she looks gorgeous. It's just so much different than the way she normally looks. I love her character, though. She's really cool, really fun. Did you like the Eden scene, Bob?
It was fine. I honestly didn't know who he was until they actually started talking.
You didn't know who was? Fucking Stashman?
Fucking Stashman, yeah.
What?
He seems a lot larger in the Eden scene than in other scenes.
Oh, you mean like short and wide?
Yeah.
Yeah, he looks stocky. I didn't realize that was him until he takes off his disguise, because when he's walking down the alley and pretends like he's a drunk, I did not know that was him at all.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Gotcha.
It does not look like him when he's...
No.
He did a good job.
He does. He asks her to set up a transport for his father off the colony, due to all of the political danger going on. We see Cecilia. She goes to the Rawl home to meet with the head of the Daikun family to negotiate terms. 11-year-old Char decides to speak on behalf of his family. Alone with Celia, she throws him onto a couch, restraining him, putting me at half-mast in seconds.
声を上げるだろうと思った。なぜ今声を上げなかったの？声を上げて助けを呼んでもいいのよ。それとも私が怖くない？
There was I think it's just because I find Cecilia so attractive that this scene just the whole time it's happening, I'm not like, man, you know, he's like a young boy and he's, you know, going out there yet again, kind of like a Game of Thrones thing. You know, you're a young male, you know, your father's dead, so you're the head of the family and you have to do these serious negotiations. The whole time I'm just like, fucking just chain him up. Just unzip. This is all I'm thinking of.
He's like fucking 10.
That's not the point. She's a strong, empowering older woman, and that's hot. Also, I may have looked up and see if there was any Rule 34 of her, and unfortunately, all of what I could find was her being like weird BDSM sadist, and I'm like, I'm not into that. I like strong, angry women, but not in that way. She offers safety to his family as long as they leave the Ral home. Char agrees. I mean, I guess I understand why he would agree, but he's basically dooming the Ral family. Because them being there is the only thing keeping them from being destroyed. The next day, the Daikuns return home and are met by Roselia Daikun, the first wife of Zeon Daikun and legal owner of the Daikun home. I did not fucking understand that at all watching this. I had to go on the Wikipedia page to understand who the fuck she was.
Yeah, I didn't know she was the first wife either. I just figured she was like a fling or something.
I thought, yes. No, she was his first wife, who seems very old, could not bear his children, so he had to take a second wife who was more fertile. So I guess in that colony, polygamy is okay? Or is it just for, like, political people? Is it a legal marriage? I don't know, because they both have his last name, so... I don't know. She tells Estrella... Is it Estrella? Is that her name? The mom?
That's how I read it.
Estrella, how she'll spend the rest of her years in a fucking Rapunzel tower away from her children. Random Rapunzel tower in the middle of a fucking lake next to the mansion. Sure. I guess this goes back to like the weird medieval connections between the Gundam universe. Hamon meets with Stashman to alert him of Australia's fate. They decide to lead They decide to lead a rescue mission of the Daikun children to protect them from the zombies. That night, Australia says her goodbyes to her children. This was fucking hard to watch.
Yeah.
This was heartbreaking. I mean, her telling them what's happening had little or no emotional impact, because honestly, she's not very sad about this. She's kind of just dead inside from all the trauma she's suffered in the last few days.
You can tell Char knew.
Char knew, but Char always knows. Like, he is with it, like, from day one. He just knows everything's bad and is just waiting for it to fall. But, like, when they're laying in bed and the little girl is just, like, begging not to go to sleep because if she goes to sleep, the next day will come, I almost cried. That was painful to listen to her little voice and, like, ugh, man. So hard. In the morning, a gun tank drives up to the tower, led by Hamon in a Federation disguise. She looks good in the disguise. Demanding to take the children into custody. I love the whole time the guards are just like screaming, "Somebody get them on the phone! Get them on the phone!"
I mean, it's realistic. What else would they do?
Yeah, I mean, in that situation, you kind of just gotta give the kids over. The gun tank drives through the streets towards the docking bay, driving over cars and people.
Yeah, I was like, what the fuck?
If you're trying to keep a low profile, why are you just driving the tank just through a civilian street?
Over property and people, murdering
Also,
others.
how did you get it there? Did you run over people to get there?
Yeah. More damage. They obviously don't care about damage.
They really don't. They are stopped soon after by 3 gun tanks. Hamon takes the wheel and says that they'll have to shoot their way out. Char from the cockpit takes the gun controls, firing at the gun tanks.
Now this is pod racing.
I did not write down... Go ahead.
Are we not going to go over the 2 pilots that, like, try and fucking rape her?
I was about to say I did not write that. I do like that scene. It's just unnecessary to the story. But they started going down that road that I absolutely detest, where every female character has to get, like, molested in some capacity. I love that her character is so strong. Like, they do that shit like, you can pay with your body, baby. And then she's just like, fuck you. Like, knees him in the dick and then, like, crushes his face.
One thing that bothered me
What?
was when they got super upset over the enemy gun tanks when they first saw them.
Yes.
What the fuck did they expect was going to happen?
I think they thought they could just drive through a civilian street blowing up cars and get to the docking bay without any issues.
I mean, yeah, what the fuck did they expect was gonna happen? They're not gonna be met with fucking other gun tanks or military. I mean, they've got to have a log of who fucking took it out.
There has to,
They're
okay.
gonna know.
There's a massive plot hole bigger than all of this, okay? And it's going to spoil a lot of the episode, but without the, I mean, I'm sorry I have to point this out. If something like this is happening, they're going to shut down all entry and exits from the colony. They're not going to have shipping trucks leaving the colony while there's a giant attack going on, because there is an attack happening. There are bombs going off and bullets and people are rioting and shit's going fucking bad. And there's a barricade outside of the docking area. They're not going to just keep letting freighters going out of the fucking colony, especially when they know that there's like political figures gone missing, you know what I mean? That could easily be going in a box and then being shipped the fuck out.
Well, the thing with that though is after the attack is when they left, for one.
I understand that, but the
military obviously didn't care about the fucking kids. They didn't care that the kids were alive or dead. They just wanted the fucking gun tank stopped.
Okay, so is that the sole motivator, was just stopping the gun tank?
Yeah.
Okay. I guess I thought there.
Because it was the Federation military that was handling the defense.
That is true, and they don't give a fuck about the politics part.
Yeah, they don't give a fuck about the politics. They don't give a fuck about the kids. They just want that tank stopped.
But aren't the people?
As soon as it's done, I'm pretty sure they just assumed everyone inside was dead.
Okay, I guess. I just thought that this would be seen as like a terrorist attack, and you would want to shut down people leaving.
It very well could be, but they don't care about the politics.
No, I understand they don't care about the politics, but I'm saying they're the Federation Earth Defense Force. If there are terrorists attacking a space colony, and they were headed towards the docking bay, which they had to barricade, I agree with you that once the tank was destroyed, they think the problem is over. But it still makes me think that, like, you're not going to just be like, oh yeah, okay, everybody start the ships back up, everything's fine. Nothing to see here, folks, go home.
I really doubt that they're going to ground all of the ships in, like, the equivalent of a nation over that.
Alright, I'll give it to you then. After destroying the enemy gun tanks, they continue to the docking bay. Up the road, a barricade is preparing to fire when they are interrupted by Dozil Zabi, who tells them that the Daikun heirs are on the gun tank and how they cannot fire upon it. They tell him that they have direct orders to destroy the gun tank. Dozil pops his stitches in rage.
Oh, that's not good. I'm not happy. Oh, no.
I love that scene. That was so funny.
It was funny and it was cool, but it just seems so out of place. It was awkward. It's like comedy again. One of his men hands him a call from his brother Giran, telling him to let them do what they want. Haman puts the tank on cruise control and escapes from the gun tank with the kids in tow. They are picked up nearby by Stashman, who takes them to the cargo terminal. Stashman's father and the children are hidden on one of the ongoing cargo ships. Soon after, Stashman and Haman are taken into custody by Cecilia.
I know it's fucked up. I'm starting to think, though, that the original plan the entire time was to get those two pilots killed so she wouldn't have to pay them.
Okay. Yeah, because they didn't get off the gun tank, did they?
No.
They just got fucking murdered.
And then when she's picked up, they're like, everything go to plan, and she's like, pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. Well, he was like, yeah, it fucking looks like it did.
Yeah.
I guess he's cool with a bunch of innocent people dying, because a lot of innocent people did die during this.
Yeah, being run over by fucking gun tanks and shit.
So it's weird to me, like, why Haman hung out. Like, I think Stashman knew for a fact that he was going to get arrested, but he also knows that he's an important figure and he's not going to die. But Haman is nobody. Like, she should have fucking got the fuck out. She has no political pull. She's going to go to jail for the rest of her life or get a bullet in the back of the head.
Yeah.
From the cargo ship's porthole, Shar and Sayla look at the blue marble known as Earth.
Oh, look at Hamon's porthole.
Well, I have a perfect outro image for you, Bob. Oh, so I'm guessing you're more of a Harmon than less of a Cassilia type.
Yeah, I like Hamon more.
I like me some Cassilia. God, this rum is good. Okay. Well, that's the end of it. Man, I felt like that was a short one.
Yeah, it did seem pretty short.
Yeah, it's just really hard to write an outline when there's a lot of talking because I sum up what the spirit of what they're trying to say is, and it just shortens a very long, diatribe into one sentence, and it just really cuts back. But man, I really enjoyed this episode.
Yeah, it was good.
It was really good, and it's gonna be really hard to watch this over 3 months because that's how our format works. But goddamn, that was really good. I'm psyched to see another one. I kind of predict that 1 or 2 of these is going to be a huge fucking drag, because I've seen some trailers of the upcoming ones, and there seems to be episodes where they're just like on a farm for like the entire fucking thing. And that's probably going to be miserably boring. But man, I love it. It does seem like the Star Wars prequel's done right. That's definitely apt. It does have inappropriate comedy, and it has a lot of callbacks to future things that we already know, which are unnecessary. But man, it sets up the universe. It tells us a bunch of shit we didn't know. I love seeing young Stash Man. Oh, he just makes me so happy. I think Stash Man's our spirit animal, Bob. I think he needs to be like our mascot, because he's just brought us so much joy over this podcast. So next week we have the final 2 episodes of Ren, Daughters of something, and that I'm excited for because I think it's going to go totally batshit insane. I think it's going to probably be like the end of Evangelion and just be a huge skull fuck. Not in a good way. I think it's just going to be a huge disappointment. So look forward to that on the next episode of the Life Worth Wasting podcast. Bye!
Fire when the strong